Okay, so this weapon and this setup is absolutely cracked, you've got to believe me. When you think about popular melee weapons in Hypixel Skyblock, you might picture the giant sword, or maybe the dark claymore. But for me, the Valkyrie in particular is massively overlooked. Now, I have made a video in the past about this weapon, and I concluded that it's better than most people make it out to be. However, there's one particular stat on this weapon that sets it apart from everything else, and that's its base ferocity, which is plus 60. Considering if you can just make up the extra 40 ferocity, that means that every single time you hit, you're going to do double damage, you're going to hit twice. And you can quite easily make that ferocity up by buying a tiger pet, and also using the dirty reforge. Now, the Valkyrie that I'm going to be taking a look at today actually also has Fatal Tempo 1 on it as well. And for those of you who don't know what Fatal Tempo is or what it does, attacking increases your ferocity by 10% per hit. Caps at 200% for 3 seconds after your last attack. Fatal Tempo does go all the way up to 5, although people don't really use anything other than 1. And realistically, this isn't a common combination. Majority of the time, if you see something with Fatal Tempo on it, it's usually a Terminator. And that's usually paired with another Terminator. However, today, I'm going to be showing you and explaining why just using Fatal Tempo as a tool to do more damage with something else is a myth. In itself, it's not a myth. It does work, but it's not the only use. I'm not going to lie, I've gone absolutely broke to buy this setup. This has cost me 920 mil. I bought a tiger pet and now I'm left with 16 million coins. To unlock the gemstone slots, I'm going to have to pay around about 25 mil. So, we're not going to use the gemstone slots. It's not the end of the world. And we can't touch this because G-Drag will be unhappy. So not only are we going to use this Valkyrie and the tiger pet, we're also going to use this setup right here. It's 3/4 Crimson and Terror Boots. There isn't really an exact reason why I have Terror Boots. Basically, when I started upgrading the setup, I just had Terror Boots. So there's Terror Boots. But realistically, the only reason we're using this setup is for the Crimson swipe ability or the second hit, the hidden ability. So not only are we going to be able to get a ridiculous amount of ferocity, we're also going to benefit from the Crimson's double hit, which is going to deal even more damage per hit. This is going to be insane. I've already tested this and I can't quite believe my eyes. So these are our stats. We've got just over 1200 strength, just over 1200 crit damage, which is relatively ideal. We have a base ferocity of 143. And of course, once the Fatal Tempo kicks in, that's going to take our ferocity up to 343. Which means that we're guaranteed to hit 3 times. And we've got around about a 43% chance to hit 4 times. Along with the Crimson Swipe and with the regular hit. However, if we just hit a regular mob that we can kill in 1 hit, the damage is quite underwhelming at 360k. I could quite easily buy a Giant Sword for around about maybe 400 million coins, maybe even 300 million coins, and deal more 1-hit damage. Now, before we go any further, you should subscribe to the channel, become part of the 23%, there's really no reason not to. We are getting really close to 50,000 subscribers, so if you do watch my videos often and you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you could help me out. And while we're on the topic, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of every single video. Now, before going into a straight up damage test against like a mini boss or a boss of some sort, we need to sort of just test it out against regular mobs. But you see, to actually see the damage what this actually can possibly do, we need sort of higher health mobs, and the only place that we can really find high enough health mobs to actually test this out properly is the Crimson Isles. So of course with Fatal Tempo 1, we need to essentially hit 10 times before our Fatal Tempo is actually going to kick in. So for instance, we have some Mushroom Cows with 2.5 million health. Now initially it's going to be fairly underwhelming, but if we just stop hitting and then we go to kill something else, you can see that was 2.5 million and it just got absolutely wiped out. Of course, that's because our Fatal Tempo actually kicked in and just went crazy on it. But even if we don't get our full 10 hits in to get the maximum amount of Fatal Tempo, we just simply hit it once. It's taking so much damage off it, like it's insane. I'm really surprised. Oh, I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's a pleasant surprise. Now these magma cubes have 3 million health, so let's see what we can do against these. Kind of hard to tell, because they're actually kind of hard to hit, I'm not going to lie. Frosty kind of went in then. If we can get on a bit of a roll with our hits, we can see we can wipe them out really quickly, considering they have 3 million health. And it's only from a couple of hits that actually connect, and then the ferocity just takes over. As you can see, it's kind of mental, I'm not going to lie. And it's really noisy as well. Should probably turn the volume down. Not only that, it's so satisfying just to hear the ferocity tick so much. All you have to do is just be quiet. And it's just such a soothing sound if we can just tone out the rest of the weird noises going on. But yeah, absolutely insane. We should probably test this against something a bit more challenging. So we're going to test it out against a tier 5 rev. When I do revs, I usually just tend to stick to a 1-for-all axe of the shredded because it really does shred through the bosses. I can do about 1.4 million damage per hit, which is really pretty good. But our swipe ability alone from Crimson is doing close to 1 million damage. So let's see how quickly we can actually wipe this out. It was quick, but it's so difficult to tell what's even going on. We can try another one. Okay, I just hit it once. Let's just hear the ferocity ticks. I barely even have to hit it. It's just amazing. Okay, let's just try and kill it as fast as we possibly can this time. Oh my god, just ferocity all over. Honestly, I'm starting to think a fatal tempo axe of the shredded may be absolutely insane. Although it doesn't benefit, you don't have the base ferocity, but you'll be able to get it up. You can potentially use werewolf armor to get even more ferocity. That is something that I've not mentioned yet. Wearing a full werewolf set would actually get you an extra 40 ferocity. So if I was to switch my regular armor out for this, then I would almost have close to 200 base ferocity, which would be insane, actually. We go for one more, because it's on the flat, we might be able to get a quicker time. It's relatively quick. Still think a fatal tempo axe of the shredded would go absolutely crazy, though. Now, something that I will say is, in terms of if you're using fatal tempo just on a Terminator to get your ticks up for ferocity, and then just switch into a duplex term or whatever it is you switch into, then fatal tempo 1 is absolutely fine, considering you'll get those hits really quickly. Now, obviously, you would use this weapon for, well, not the same thing that you would use a fatal tempo term for, which is usually Kudra. I feel like a higher level of fatal tempo would actually maybe be a little bit more beneficial, but at the same time, when each book is like 120 mil, to get fatal tempo 5, you're looking at like 2 billion coins. I don't think it's worth it at that point at all. Nevertheless, this weapon is ridiculously fun to use, especially with the rest of the setup with the Crimson Swipe and the ridiculous ferocity, and obviously the fatal tempo. And also, the damage that it can do is pretty impressive. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.